30 unique things that only happen in Saudi Arabia.
Oh my gosh. We haven't been to Saudi Arabia. We actually almost went, but it's one of those countries that's kind of in its own world. Like it's got its own flair to it. So what are unique things that we can learn
And it
here?
has its own visa fees.
Yes, very expensive visa fees.
We were in the UAE right next door. If you want to check out our travel vlogs there, you can go check out the link in the description below to our travel vlog channel. We've traveled all over the world. So if you want to see if we've been to your country, check it out.
And please give us some suggestions on what we can react to next about Saudi Arabia and maybe some places we can go if we ever visit.
The world is inside, the solar system is inside of this fracking light bulb. Let's go.
Now, did you ever think you could serve jail time for a selfie?
Nope.
Well, there's no country quite like Saudi Arabia. And while it definitely has a colorful culture, some of its traditions and rules are fascinating, and some are just plain weird. See for yourself. Saudi Arabia is located on the Arabian Peninsula. Just so you know, this is the world's largest peninsula. And even though Saudi Arabia is the 13th largest country in the world, it still has no river. Considering the fact that it's mostly deserts, this is a real bummer for everybody. Plus, despite its desert climate, snow, rain, and hail are never out of the picture.
Really?
Especially if you live in areas like Tabuk. There's also a very unusual border between Saudi Arabia and Jordan. It's a zigzag shape and therefore attracts tons of tourists from all over the world. The Saudi population is also pretty young.
I'm very
Only
confused about
5% of people.
Do people go to it because it's a zigzag shape? What?
Wow!
I'm confused. What's so unique about that?
People in Saudi Arabia are over 60. In fact, half of the country is actually under the age of 24. Now, what's their secret? Saudi Arabia has its own royal family, which can easily compete with the British one. For instance, the Saudi royal family is estimated to be worth about $13 trillion.
Holy mouse.
That's nothing.
Speaking of the royal family, the king of Saudi Arabia is officially known as the custodian of the two holy mosques. If you ever plan to visit Saudi Arabia, you should probably know that taking pictures of buildings or people is strictly forbidden here. And it's not all fun and games. Posting a picture that violates someone's privacy can cost you 1 year in jail or a fine of more than $133,000.
How do
If you're
people vlog?
left-handed, you should also be careful. In Saudi culture, the left hand is considered unclean, so whenever you meet somebody new, always use your right hand for a handshake.
Does anybody ever shake with their left hand?
What are you talking about, dude?
Feels odd.
Does feel quite odd.
If you're holding something in your right hand, you'll be like,
Yeah.
Moreover, eating with your left hand is considered a sin, so good luck having a delicious Saudi lunch. Also, don't be surprised if you see a Saudi family enjoying their meals on the floor. Another thing you should keep in mind is to never show the soles of your feet or shoes. This is considered to be highly disrespectful in Saudi Arabia. Saudi people take naming their child pretty seriously. They usually choose names that somehow reflect their kid's heritage, the clan they're from, or their extended family. One of the most successful industries in Saudi Arabia is the camel industry. And it's no joke, you guys. They sell roughly 100 camels every single day. Would you like one hump or two? Now, not that long ago, the women of Saudi Arabia weren't allowed to drive cars or even ride bicycles. However, they could easily fly planes if they wanted to. Seems logical. Thankfully, in 2018, this ban was lifted. Still, Saudi women have a whole set of other restrictions they have to follow. They can't leave their house alone, try on clothes before buying them, travel without the permission of their male guardian, or even get important medical help without the written signature from a male relative. Okay? However, there are a couple of silver linings. For example, since 2013, about 20% of the kingdom's Shura Council members have been women. Universities are also packed with women. According to statistics, about 52% of students pursuing a bachelor's degree are, in fact, women.
wow.
At least Saudi education is doing something right. It's completely free, by the way, and this goes for
That's
both
nice.
college
That would
and
be nice.
postgraduate schooling. The students also attend lessons a bit differently, from October all the way through July. Valentine's Day in Saudi Arabia also comes with a set of rules. Flower shops can't sell red roses, gift shops avoid selling heart-shaped products, and girls are prohibited from wearing red to school. And if you're a Saudi
I wonder
man,
why.
giving flowers to your sweetheart is also not a good idea. Here, women can only receive flowers from other women. Saudi wedding ceremonies are also not as fun as you might think. Believe it or not, they're often held separately for the bride and the groom. The newlyweds get together only near the end of it. But enough about romance. Soon enough, Saudi Arabia is going to have the tallest building in the world. It's called the Jeddah Tower, or the Kingdom Tower. And this baby will reach 3,280 feet in height. Oh,
That's very
boy.
high.
I also
Let's
have
see if
some
it gets
bad news for
completed.
Yeah,
Pokemon
true.
lovers.
That's very true.
It's banned in Saudi Arabia. And this ban involves everything from games to innocent cards. The same thing happened to another huge hit, Harry Potter books. That's right, your favorite magic story is banned in Saudi Arabia too. That's because the government is very serious about Saudi citizens practicing any form of witchcraft or sorcery,
Oh,
and even
interesting.
has a police unit for catching magic practitioners. Remember
I know somebody whose parents banned them from watching the Harry Potter movies because of their
Which-
religiousness.
Because it's witchcraft?
Yeah.
Because it's magic?
Yeah.
Interesting.
So that's interesting. So it goes with very Christian people as
Yeah,
well.
in the
Popular-
U.S.
dab dance move? Well, a Saudi singer was actually arrested for performing it in public. The government sees it as a strong reference to drug use and doesn't want Saudi youth to get involved in it. Music classes are also kind of banned in public schools. Sure, the Saudi music industry is pretty dynamic, but all Saudi musicians either taught themselves how to play instruments or had to hire a tutor.
Interesting.
Men and women, if they're not related, still can't interact with one another freely in Saudi Arabia. Yep, most of the public areas are actually segregated and even have different entrances for different sexes. And
Interesting.
breaking this rule can lead to serious criminal charges for both parties. By the way, there are no cinemas in Saudi Arabia for the same reason. The government believes that movies may give men and women inappropriate ideas, so some Saudi people actually take trips to Bahrain to watch a new blockbuster. If you live in Saudi Arabia, you should also forget about crazy birthday parties. Public gatherings of any
Dang,
kind are
nabbit.
completely prohibited, so your best option is having a piece of cake at home in your favorite pajamas.
Sounds like a piece of cake to
Saudi
me.
people, however, seem to be real adrenaline junkies at heart. They really enjoy sidewalk skiing, which is basically when you tilt your vehicle while driving when another
Oh.
person stands on top of it. Wild. When the rest of the world obsesses over oil, Saudi people know what's good. Here, fresh water is way more expensive and valuable. However,
That's
that's
crazy.
probably because all the oil in Saudi Arabia could easily fill more than 4.7 million Olympic-sized swimming pools.
I know exactly how
Saudi
big that
Arabia
is.
full of amazing places you can visit and enjoy as a tourist, and its culture and beauty are definitely worth your attention. So, what's the weirdest thing about your country? Let me know down in the comments.
You know, a lot
Alabama.
of obese people, Alabama.
Were you about to say Obama?
Not
Not Obama. He's not weird.
And I'm assuming a lot of these things, kind of like the UAE, apply to the citizens and not necessarily the tourists. So that's an interesting. I know there are some tourist things where, or some laws in like the UAE too, where if you break the rules as a tourist too, you'll be like in trouble.
Yeah, and it seemed like basically half of this video was showing kind of like unique cultural things, and then the other half was basically about the restrictions. So it's interesting to learn about both of those. If you have any other videos you want us to react to about facts or information, culture, food, let us know.
Let us know also if these facts are accurate. We know these videos sometimes just kind of go off stereotypes and very broad rules.
And it seems like some of it's the rules are changing, and this video is from 4 years old, so
We'll see.
it could be a bit outdated.
Saudi Arabia is an interesting country. It seems like it's like the mix of the modern and the very traditional, like very, very traditional, like 1,000 years old traditions are still going on, but also one of the most modern infrastructure-wise countries in the world.
Yeah, some of the cities look very cool.
So let us know what else to check out down in the comments. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.